How's everybody doing in the podcast world? This is Diar Lansky, of course, of What's the Word podcast. We got a great show for you today. We have the legendary Little Fame of M.O.P in the house. Fame, what's up with you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, brother. Peace. What's going on?
That's what's up. Well, we got plenty to get to. Obviously, the Price of Fame just released. But I want to dip into M.O.P with you real quick.
Okay.
I mean, M.O.P, legendary group in hip hop, but you guys are more like a staple when it comes to hip hop and you know what it represents. What do you think has brought most of your success all around when you hear the name M.O.P?
I think just first of all, me and Billy grew up as kids together, man. And our chemistry is what kept us together. Me and family orientated, you know what I mean? We brothers, basically. You know what I mean? We go back from like 5, 8 years old. You know what I mean? And just being supportive to one another and growing up together, man. We know each other vibe, man. So we just bring that into the music with us. You know what I mean? And just being loyal niggas to each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's rare. I mean, in now 2020, you don't see a lot of rap groups, a lot of rap duos, anymore at all.
Yeah.
What was it? Would you say it was an advantage being a hip hop duo and you guys having each other back, or was it harder? Was it harder being a duo coming up?
No. Like actually now, like I'm doing a lot of. It's like I noticed Billy is not there when I'm doing like actually promoting the Price of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? I miss his presence. So it was definitely easy. It's definitely easier being in the group and knowing each other well. Like even going to the studio, sometimes Billy ain't got to be there. We can pick out music, or I ain't got to be there. Pick out music. And we know each other. We know each other vibes. So
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Why do you think you don't see duos or groups like you used to?
I don't know, man. I think it's too much animosity, and I think sometimes it's magic when they come together, when you find a perfect somebody to complement your style of music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's an honor, and then some people can't deal with it. Some people can't deal with the characters. So it's a lot of characters. You know what I mean? Between individuals when they're in a group.
Yeah.
So different personalities. It's hard to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
What did I guess you could say what started M.O.P with you two, or even you by yourself, where you say, hey, this is what I want to do? What influenced you to even actually get into the game?
Man, we used to be we grew up in a drug spot, man, a crack spot, everything spot. We grew up in a building like that where everything was going on, man, and music always played a big role. And what we was doing, you know what I mean? We had the radio plugged up to the light pole, you know what I mean? Run the cord to the building, and you know what I mean? Just play music or spend a bunch of money on batteries, even in the wintertime. You know what I mean? Just so music always been a part of it.
Yeah.
And Billy actually was rapping before I was.
Okay.
As far as back as I can remember. You know what I mean? It's just something that we was good at, man. So we kept it going. I ain't had no whole bunch of equipment. Man, I had little bullshit turntables. We used to make our little demos and shit, little house pause tapes and shit like that. You know what I mean? And my boy Lays, he's part of M.O.P. He's from my neighborhood.
Okay.
So yeah, he had a foot in the door in the industry already. So he came back to the hood. You know what I mean? Snatched me up and shit and put me in the studio. I brought Billy along with me.
A lot of talent came out of Brownsville.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of history there too.
Yeah.
A lot of history. So I
Mike Tyson, Riddick Bowe, Shannon Briggs. You know what I mean?
A lot. I mean, there's a lot of talent, not just music, that came out of there. A lot of people don't know that though.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
Zab Judah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. A lot of people, and when I put on my thread for the podcast that I was going to interview you, a lot of people brought up Annie Up. When you guys made that, now obviously you were already, as I said, a staple in hip hop as it was, but when you guys made Annie Up, did you think it was going to have the effect and the I guess, be heard the way it was and the way it came out when you were making the song?
I never know it. Every time we go in the studio, man, we put our all into it. So,
and you hear that in the music. I gotta say, like, I mean, from everything you've done to the Snow Goons album. I mean, you guys can tell you put your heart, blood, sweat, tears, and soul into every song you make. But
thank you, brother. The thing with Annie Up was it came out at a time where everybody was tired of the bling bling and the flossing and all that shit. So it was a perfect statement, and a lot of people felt that way. So they supported that record strong. You know what I mean? A lot of people like, you know what I mean? Take that shit off. Like, we tired of that shit. You know what I mean? That's when hip hop was really flashy. I mean, it's back to flashy now.
Yeah.
Shit, we need another Annie Up right
now. Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, but the energy in the song too. I mean, you can just start playing the first little dun, 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 you know, and people just automatically know what it is and are drawn to the song no matter what. Yeah. I mean, it definitely had a huge impact. And at the time too, like you said, it was very flashy. So it really made, you know, it's almost kind of like you know, the 50 Cents, like how he did How to Rob and stuff like that. It was like, man, let's get it.
Definitely anti-industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And ironically, it's an industry, you know, you guys have already broke into. So I guess there's, you know, it didn't hurt anything by letting people know.
Right. Thank you, brother. Yep.
So you also produce a lot too. A lot of people don't know this.
Yeah, I do a lot of production, man.
What did you do first? Like, were you an MC first, or were you producing first? What
I think I was fucking with the music before that. Actually, I used to fuck with the turntables before that.
Okay.
Yeah, so you know that comes. That's why I don't understand niggas that really DJ. I don't understand how they don't know how they don't make beats.
Yeah.
It's like a video game for me. It's fun to do.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy making beats more than rhyming. Actually. You know what I mean? It's easier. It's easier and it's more fun.
You know, there's a lot of personality when you produce beats. And we had Pete Rock on the show not too long ago, and one of the things he said is, you know, he identifies himself even with the first snare. You know, I want that snare to sound like me. I want the bass drum to sound like me. So there's a lot of personality put in beats that a lot of people don't see. You know, a lot of people that listen to music, all they hear is the final outcome. And they don't see the process. They don't hear the process. They don't hear the 23 hi-hats that you went through to
right.
You know, to try to get there.
So you understand it. You get it, bro. You make beats?
Yeah, I make beats. I'm an engineer, producer. I'm an MC myself. So yeah, definitely.
You get it. You get it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one thing about the social media era that we live in that I'm starting to appreciate more is when some of these producers go online and go through the process. When I grew up, you know, we didn't really have that. You know, we watched videos on TV, you read in magazines, but you didn't really see what people's process were unless you had firsthand access to it. So
yeah, I think it's a good and a bad, man, because back then you appreciated it more. You know what I mean? I think you kind of the less you seen it, the less it was visible to you. You just heard it back then. So you wondered, like, how the fuck Pete Rock fucking made them horns go din and go up and down and shit, you know what I mean? Or shut them down remix. You know what I mean? You wondered, like, instead, nowadays you can see the shit on the internet, you know what I mean? So that shit made us more creative. Like, oh, that nigga flipped it like this, I gotta flip it like this, you know what I mean?
I even sometimes hear tracks from back in the day, and knowing how processing and everything is on computers now, and I'm thinking how these albums sound so good without the computer. And you know, some of my first demos were on ADATs, and you know, I was doing music before computers and stuff. But still, I'm not even talking hip hop. I'm talking, you know, Ray Charles and just, you know, stuff from the '70s. And it's like, how does it sound that like to be a?
How the fuck?
How did they do that?
How the fuck did they do it? Right?
Yeah.
What was the vibe in that room? Yeah, I hear a lot of shit. Man, I grew up, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I grew up on Calypso music, man. My family is Caribbean.
Dope.
You know what I mean? And I watch these motherfuckers play still playing, man. I used to wonder, like, how the fuck they do this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's a vibe that everybody got at one time, and then they recorded that shit. That's amazing to me. Even instrument plays, that's amazing. It's amazing to me. Yeah. I can flip any fucking thing, any fucking sample. I can make a beat out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the instrument players is how the fuck they do that shit. That's what's amazing to me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And to be a fly on the wall in some of those sessions and just see how they captured it and how they, to see I want to see what the engineer was doing. Because to me it's like, okay, you have all these instruments, you have, all these different instruments that are super loud, but yet the mic is on point. The mic is on point, and so that's always fascinating to me.
Yeah.
So let's dip into your newest, The Price of Fame, which I'm gonna have to say personally was so refreshing to hear. I grew up a huge Boot Camp fan. Nothing against Wu-Tang. I'm a big Wu-Tang fan too, but Boot Camp, starting with Black Moon, kind of struck me first. Like, this is something special. So that being said, Helter Skelter, one of my favorite, along with y'all, one of my favorite duos ever in hip hop history. What did it feel like to finally release something, especially with the passing of the legendary Shawn P?
Man, it's dope that that people embracing this album, because it like you said, it's a hip hop album. It's a lot of, like, the music that they putting out now is not, I wouldn't consider it grown up music. It's like it's more for kids. Mm-hmm. So for the people to embrace the kind of music that we grew up making or grew up listening to, it's a good thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's a lot of support for the record, and a lot of people appreciate the record, man.
Yeah, and I've already seen it's getting a great response. You produced the whole record, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely. What was it like? We just had, actually, Rock was in LA a few weeks ago, and we actually got him into the studio for interview, and we talked about Shawn P a little, but what was Shawn P? What was Shawn P like to you personally? Obviously, coming out of Brownsville, you guys known each other for a long time. But what was Shawn P like?
Personally, like, he's just a funny ass nigga, man. This nigga will rank you out. This nigga will bag on everything. You gotta have the correct sneakers on around this nigga. But he would not hold back, bro. This nigga will let you have it in front of everybody. You know what I mean? And what P mostly, to me, P, what I respect about him, he's an honest dude. Yeah. Like, he'll tell you, I'm the brokest rapper, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, he will honestly, like, certain shit, I'd be like, damn, nigga, I ain't telling nobody that. That nigga will come. And he would just straight, and you will respect it. Yeah. You know what I mean? You gotta respect.
You gotta respect honesty, no matter what, no matter how it comes at you.
So he was definitely an honest dude, man. And speak his mind.
I've been looking at some threads lately, and Rusty Jukes actually reposted some stuff, and someone would go on Twitter, when Shawn was alive, and they'd be like, man, you one of my favorite rappers ever, like, and give him props, and he'd be like, okay, I'm blocking you, and he just blocked people for saying he just blocked people for saying good shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we did shows. We did shows with the nigga, man. The nigga come on before us and shit. We watch the show and shit. This nigga, the crowd would be clapping for him and shit. Every song, he'd be like, all right, shut the fuck up. I'm like, how the fuck you tell nigga shut the fuck up? They giving you love.
Well, I think that's also, what made, Helter Skelter so, out the box was the personalities. Obviously, you have Rock, who has the voice, and
Rock got that voice,
and he just tall and big and lanky, and then Shawn P was so smooth, but he was so precise with the way he rapped and the way he put it together. But collectively, I mean, Helter Skelter, that's just a dynamic duo.
Yeah. They like us. They got the same kind of bond like M.O.P. You know what I mean? Same kind of shit, like childhood friends and shit like that. You don't get that nowadays, man.
No, you don't. And like you said, we don't see groups or duos as is.
Yeah. Yeah, and motherfucking Rock is a nice ass nigga too, man. That nigga
for sure. Oh yeah,
he do a stage. You know what I mean?
Really, everybody from Duck Down is nice. I mean, I think they did well with the groups that they had. I mean, even there's a group from Duck Down that people don't talk about a lot, but the Representatives with Lil Rock and Supreme and Elohim. I mean, these dudes were just nice. I mean, just
yeah.
So I think Buckshot.
One thing I can say about Buckshot and them. One thing I can say about Duck Down Boot Camp. They was fucking Wu-Tang before Wu-Tang.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish they put out more projects together. You know what I mean? I wish they did they should have put out more projects together. But yeah, I think they Wu-Tang before Wu-Tang, bro.
I agree with you, and I think they only did like 2 boot camp albums. I know they did.
That's what I'm saying. They should have ran with that.
For the People, I know, you know, was a hot one, and then it was years later before I think we got another, you know, boot camp album. But as far as the Price of Fame, what made you put it out now? I know he's been gone for a little bit, but you just felt it was time.
No, yeah, it was. Not only that, we had a couple of hold ups I don't want to speak about.
Oh, good.
But mostly like when P passed, man. Like I lost a lot of people in my family, man. I lost, you know what I mean. I lost a couple of family members, so I know that death thing is hard to deal with, man. So you don't want to speak about no record after the man just passed away. You know what I mean? So I kind of fell back from it for a minute and started doing other shit. You know what I mean? Then the burn was like, yo, come on, let's run with this record. Let's get this record done. So then we went back in the studio and got it. You know what I mean? Got it done.
And I know exactly what you're thinking. You know, out here in the West Coast, we just recently lost Badass from the Dog Pound.
Right, that's my homie too. That's my nigga too.
So I was in the middle of an EP with him. And, you know, right when he passed, obviously I'm listening to the songs, and there were some people in the studio, and they're like, man, you need to drop this. And I'm like, I can't. Like, this dude just passed. You know, I got to hold on to it. I got to.
You got people that'll try to cap on that shit and try to run with it. But I ain't like that. You got to get family time to mourn, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And learn to live with the situation, because you'll never get over it.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, you won't.
So, yeah, so, you know, I just had to fall back from it for a minute. You know, me and Burn is close, so it's whenever she was ready, you know what I mean? It was up to her.
And that was awesome to see her on tour with Rock just recently, too. They were overseas in Europe. That's just awesome to see. And, you know, what courage.
Bernadette is out doing her thing now.
Yeah, huh? I mean, that takes a lot of courage for her to do that, because that's hard to do. I mean, you're celebrating his life, but he's not there. I mean, that's tough to do. I give her a lot of props.
Yeah, but she's good with it though. She hold it down though. She definitely hold it down.
Definitely. So what's going to be new for you, M.O.P, coming here in 2020? And Happy New Year. This is the first day. Exclusive.
I was in the middle of before I got back to the Price of Fame album. I was in the middle of recording a solo project myself. So I got a bunch of songs. I might just I'm gonna go back and listen to them and see what works, and put a couple of songs out, man. Put a prior project, a full project. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Is there any gonna be new stuff coming with the Snow Goons again?
I'm not sure, man, but that's people too.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that just happens. Mostly like when we on the road, you know what I mean? You come up with an idea, then you go in the studio, it works out.
I got to say that album is amazing. Them Snow Goons are, I mean, you talk about a match made in heaven. You guys on Snow Goon beats is just incredible.
Yeah, they good people too, man, and they dope as fuck too.
Hard workers.
They sent us a bunch of fucking music, bro, a bunch of beats to go through. So it was easy working with them.
That's what's up. So I mean, in 2020, I know I keep saying it, but it's the first day, so we gotta represent it right.
2020. We're gonna have M.O.P record. You got Billy Dan's record. You got Lil Payne record. We still at it, man. We're gonna keep pushing, bro. That's all. That's
what's up. What would you give advice to artists coming up that are actually doing hip hop? Because a lot of the stuff that we're hearing, I don't consider it hip hop. I mean, it's cool. It can be pop. I'm not hating on anybody's style of music.
Right. You can't tell people what to like.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? But people that are actually in this lane that you represent, that a lot of hip hop.
I would tell them the same thing I tell myself. It's like people love this kind of music, man. It's just not enough of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And this watered down shit is whooping our ass right now, because we're not doing enough hip hop. We need to put out a lot more music. So my advice to them would be get in that studio, man. Just keep pushing, keep making music, man. Don't just put out one project and think that's it. You got to keep making a lot. You got to make a lot of music, because these young boys just flooding shit with bullshit. You know what I mean? Yeah.
What led to your guys' consistency, do you think? Especially with the consistency that M.O.P has always had. What was the main contributing factor to that, to just be able to be you?
To just getting off that fucking block that we grew up on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just so fucking crazy. That neighborhood was just so crazy, man. Getting in the studio was a beautiful thing. To fucking leave
leave the neighborhood and be able to go to Manhattan and record in the studio, the big nights, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or even if it's a small studio, just to be, that kept us out of, I know that kept me out of jail. That kept me out of jail and kept me from, you know what I mean, whatever else could happen. So music played a major part, and just that drive alone, man, just knowing that you're doing something and you got the family telling you, got the people telling you, yo, keep doing your thing, everybody supporting you, that should encourage you to keep doing the positive shit, positive thing, and continue to make music, man.
And not just M.O.P. yourself, but did you ever feel, a long time ago back in the day, that hip hop would blow up to what it was today? That, after, all this $1 billion industry now, did you ever think it was going to be to that point?
The thing, I never looked at the kind of, when I grew up listening to music, man, I didn't look at the record sales. My thing was about, I knew I had an ear for music, like, because I'm a fan of fucking hip hop, so I knew I could call the song before it even blow up. I could call, like the B Cuts is my favorite songs off a project. You know what I mean? So it'd be like the underground songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the shit that I love. You know what I mean? So I always looked at the quality of the music, not the sales. You know what I mean?
Which is, the way I grew up, we'd go on a Tuesday when an album came out, and we would buy an album, not knowing if it was good or not, but to be able to say, hey, I didn't like that. That wasn't good. But, we still bought the albums to read about it,
right,
to see who produced this.
But if it's an artist that you look up to, like say like a Slick Rick or a Kane,
mm-hmm.
like I couldn't wait for fucking Kane album to come out. You know what I mean? Kane album coming out. If it's one of your favorite artists, you're gonna go purchase the album.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And I start with I find a song that I love. I'm on that song. Then later on, I get into the rest of the album.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if it's one song that I love, I'll play that shit to burn out. Then I'm on to the next one. You know what I mean?
And honestly, I got that feeling with obviously the Price of Fame when Gangstar, album was released earlier or later in 2019. It was so good to hear these voices again. Right.
And that shit sounded like that was a Gangstar album, nigga.
Yeah.
When I was in the studio when Preem was playing, when he was putting it together, and he played me a couple joints before anybody heard it, I'm like, yo, it sounds like this nigga is right here. You know what I mean?
And I just feel hip-hop definitely still needs stuff like that. So I salute Preem. I salute you guys, you as well for, putting out the Price of Fame, because one thing I think hip-hop has lost is leaders. When I heard a Gangstar album, when I heard Rakim, when I heard Big Daddy Kane, I looked up to them to where, like, hey, these are the leaders of the game. You don't see that with this genre now. It's everybody's just kind of floating around doing their thing. And I think that's really one of the things hip hop is missing. Yeah,
it's so regular right now, man. But like for instance, like the Gangstar album, there's so much on that motherfucker album, man. It's the beats, it's Guru's voice, there's the scratches. You know what I mean? You missing that element too. Like those are all key elements for hip hop, and that people are playing with. People forgot about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And a lot of music nowadays, you're not even hearing the person's real voice.
Right. You're right.
So you don't even know how this person really sounds in real life. When you hear Guru's voice, you're like, that's my dude right there. No mistakes. Exactly. He's right there, right in front of me. And especially, you guys both you and Billy have a, unmistakable voice. You hear an M.O.P. track, you know it's an M.O.P. track. There's not like, oh, who's this?
Yeah.
You'll never make that mistake with M.O.P.
Good looking out, my nigga.
For sure. Well, I definitely appreciate you, chopping it up with us, especially on the new year. I know it's busy. Yep. I know it's going to be a great year for M.O.P. for yourself. Any last words to the followers, audience? Anything you want to say that I left out?
Salute to y'all, man. That Price of Fame is out, man. Support real hip hop, man. Real hip hop still alive, man. Y'all keep up with it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And this is What's the Word podcast with the one and only Little Fame of M.O.P. Go get the Price of Fame right now. Rest in peace to Shawn P.
Price.
Man, one of the best ever do it. Rest in peace, Guru. Hip hop is still alive and well. What's the Word podcast? I'm Diar Lansky. We'll see you next week.
Salute, bro.